I wouldn't like label an entire generation one thing.
3, 2, 1, clap. 3, 2, 1, clap. 3, 2, 1, clap. That's so funny that it's so delayed.
That should
Someday
definitely be put in the beginning of the video because I think people would want to see that.
Hey, like if people Googled on YouTube people clapping, it would just be us clapping.
And then they'll be like, what's this? And you gotta do it with your eyes closed.
Millennials and Generation Z are increasingly pessimistic about their lives. Millennials, born between 1983 and 1994, and Gen Z, born between 1995 and 2002, that's you guys. We're asked a bunch of questions in a survey, 13,000 of them. First thing I don't like about this is that you can see they're already trying to do this. They're trying to group you in with the millennials, and
we are not the millennials.
No, you're not. Exactly. And so I don't like that. But I am curious, if you were asked this question, are you pessimistic about the country's future, the world's future, or optimistic about it? Mary Frances.
I would definitely say I'm more... Are you saying just like about life in general or like specifically about the country?
The country, not your life, but
okay.
The future of the United States and then of the world.
I'm optimistic about the future because I feel like we, especially in news, is constantly focused on the negative things because that's what people are kind of drawn to more. And I don't know, I feel like that's kind of easier to report on because it's usually all the negative things are more of like the big stories versus the gradual improvement of society over the last few hundred years or since the founding of the country. It's like gradually improved. It's a lot slower progress, so it's not as easy to report on day to day all the good things that are happening and the things that are improving because it's seen over every few years. You can see improvements economically and I don't know and socially throughout the country. So I'd say I'm optimistic because I think in both fields we are improving overall and overall like on an incline I guess of improvement. But we actually talked about in one of my classes, not this specifically, but how older generations too or other people will say how it seems like we're like so much worse off now than we were like a few years ago or back in like the mid like early 1900s whatever in certain aspects, like there's so much more crime and stuff like that, or you just feel like you hear so many more bad things. But I think it was in my sociology class we were talking about that, but just how it seems like there's so much more of a prevalence of all these bad things, but all that is just because of media improvements. And so you hear about these bad things that happens, like I don't know, like murders, different crime, things like that are just around the country because it's so much more accessible to hear all about it. So you hear about those negative things a lot more than maybe past generations did, so it seems more prevalent. But in reality, like our society is improving. I think the country is improving and will continue to do so as long as we don't become socialist.
Nice. I like that last caveat there. Sarah Kate. Yes, Uncle Michaelis?
Yes, Uncle Michaelis.
Are you more optimistic about the future of the country and the globe, or pessimistic?
What do you think?
What?
I feel like you asked me that like with an answer in mind.
No, I just got Mary Frances's opinion on it. Now I would like yours.
Okay.
I can give you mine if you want to do it that way.
Well, I want to hear. Let's hear Sarah Kate's than yours.
How about I just talk for the rest of this entire podcast?
All right, we'll just sit here and smile. We'll just agree.
Optimistic, pessimistic, Sarah Kate.
I feel like, well, I'm not gonna say like not either. Like I feel like in a way I'm more optimistic, but I wouldn't say I'm not pessimistic. But I think there's a difference between like being pessimistic and then just being worried about like things that are actually happening. Like being a pessimist is like just seeing like the worst and everything. Like I think there's definitely like good things like with the problems that are happening now and will happen in the future. I think we're learning better ways to deal with certain things and we're like improving like technology or communication on certain things. So I think
like anyone, you grow and you learn how to fix issues. Like, nothing specifically in mind, but I wouldn't say I'm, like, optimistic either, because there's, like, a lot of bad things that have happened and will happen. I don't know. I wouldn't, like, label an entire generation one thing.
But, I mean, just in general, I mean, you're 19 years old. In 5 years, you're going to be 24, at least a year or two into your first job, probably, your first full-time job. Like, do you think that you're going to be happy then? Or are you worried, like, my gosh, what's the world going to be like in 2024?
I do think, like, being in college and stuff, it's almost like we're taught to be more pessimistic.
I agree with that.
Like,
yeah.
even, like, just, like, when you first asked that, like, one of the first things that popped into my head was in my econ class. And one of the units we were learning about, he said, well, the next lecture is, like, the lecture everyone gets depressed, because I talk about how when you guys are my age, like, you won't have a, retirement fund and, like, all this stuff, and, like, talking about all these, like, issues we will have to deal with in the future. And he, like, literally called it the, like, depression lecture, because there's so much that we're gonna have to deal with. But I mean, there's so much that your generation has had to deal with that the generation before you might not have had to, or, like, vice versa. I don't know, but things like that. And then the way people talk about things that are happening in the world, I don't know. I think a lot of pessimistic attitudes are, like, directed towards us.
I feel like, yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think, I don't know if this is at all a fair statement to make, really, but it seems like a lot of, I don't know, I feel like things on the liberal political agenda are kind of fueled by pessimism of, like, current situations. So I feel like that's a part of it, why it's included in college so much. Like, not, like, intentional, not necessarily completely intentionally or consciously, but it's, like, talking so negatively about the future, and does kind of establish a more pessimistic mindset, I feel like, in the younger generations. But that's really risky, because it's like, if they're trying to push certain changes, you should be straightforward of the issues that we have, but in an optimistic sense that they can change. Because if we create too much pessimism in younger generations, then you don't want to lose the effort of trying to improve aspects in society. Like, and so I feel like if I don't really think about that too much for saying that, but it's like, become more lazy, or just kind of give up. And, like, I don't know, just, like, a side point, like, there's a certain age where children shouldn't have to learn about, like, too serious of topics. Like, you need to wait, because, like, that can cause too much inner turmoil, I think, if people learn about too serious of issues at, like, too young of an age. But as people develop, like, throughout like, the education system, and become, I don't know, capable of handling that kind of information, I think it definitely needs to be more informative and in a more optimistic mindset, so that way people can work to improve things. But also, just, like, kind of another point I was going to say is, like, there are things that obviously, like, we need to work on and improve, but I don't know, I'm just, like, we could be in such a worse state, like, health-wise, too. Like, the epidemics they had hundreds of years ago that would wipe out, like, huge portions of the population. Like, we've overcome that. We've overcome a lot of really negative things, just, like, globally and in society and stuff like that. So there are a lot of things that have improved. So I feel like there's a lot of positive things that can also be focused on.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
I don't know.
And I know this is kind of a bumper sticker, but it's true. It's like anything. It's like what we make of it. Like, you guys are going to be, next decade, especially because you were born right at the top of the century, like, it's kind of cool. Your age will always be kind of the year it is, which I just realized, which is kind of cool. So, like,
for
in
me,
the 20s,
the entire year except for the last day.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome. The entire mid-20s next year you're going to be in your mid-20s, and, like, you guys can decide if you're going to have IRAs, if you're going to save money right, if you're going to get along with people of different cultures and races and economic backgrounds and accents and all that kind of stuff. Like, you will decide that. Don't listen to people who tell you that everything is going to CRAP, in your lifetime, because then it's like, what can you do about it? Oh, everything sucks. I may as well just not even try.
Just complain about it.
Yeah, don't. Oh, I hate them. People just, like, don't just, like, complain about
here's
stuff.
All these horrible issues, just to let you know.
Yeah, it's like, you can do stuff.
What did you say, Sarah Kate?
Like, let's just tell everyone all of the horrible things and not offer up any sort of help for change, just so everyone gets that.
Well, a lot of them have solutions. It's, oh yeah, well the Earth is, they want to get into your mind that everything sucks, and they have a solution to fix it. Like the premise they always set of everything sucks, and here's my solution to fix it. And you better agree with it, or you don't care about this horrible thing going on.
Yeah.
That will be a theme that you'll discover as time moves forward. Anything else about this before we move on to yours?
I think I'm good on this one. Did you have anything else to say?
No. Well, other than this, I am extremely optimistic about the future, and I will demonstrate that in a song in a future segment.
Okay.
All right.
So it's like past a little bit, but Olivia Jade from the college admissions scandal like posted on Instagram again after being offline for so long, and it was not a great post. It was like her flicking off the camera, and she tagged like all these different news platforms and then said at every other news platform, and then basically saying like
screw you,
didn't do anything wrong kind of connotation to it. And she deleted it because all of the backlash that she received.
So we just thought,
wow,
that was funny. Like most people, when
that
something
just happened,
like that,
how recently did that happen?
She posted it like maybe a week or two ago. I think she only deleted it a few days ago because I didn't even see it until like Friday maybe. So
I hadn't heard of it until Sarah Kate told me about it, but it's just kind of ironic. It's like now, you had something pretty detrimental to your reputation. You're like, this is how you're going to try to rebuild it. It's like, just,
and I mean, a lot of celebrities go through stuff like that, and then when they do take time off, when they come back, the first thing they do is like apologize, or like say like, I know what I did, and I'm like starting over, like something like mature sounding, and she just did exactly what everyone like sees her like as. She just like she's just an immature child. Yeah.
So. How old is she?
She's our age.
Is she the daughter of the woman who already got sentenced, who got like 14 days in jail, or is she the daughter of the person who is yet to be sentenced?
14 days.
14 days was Huffman.
That's all she got.
Or whatever.
She had to pay some kind of a fine, but she only got 14 days.
Yeah. No, Lori Loughlin.
Lori Loughlin, yeah.
No, I thought the other lady got 14 days.
That's what I'm asking. Like,
no,
what's her name? Olivia
Jade.
Olivia Jade.
Her mom is not the one that got 14 days.
But her mom is Becky from...
The one who has like 40 years is like the minimum.
Yeah. Because she's the one who didn't take the like deal originally. The other lady confessed it, I think.
That's not... Did you say that that's very, very light? I don't think that's very light. I think that's kind of a heavy topic, and it's applicable to you guys.
Maybe, but we just thought it was light because she...
I was just
like waited all this time. People probably would have... Now it's kind of blown over, like not really, but like a little bit, at least for like people who followed her and stuff on Instagram, and she comes back and just like ruins it again.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I don't know, because she had an extremely successful YouTube channel before this all started, right?
And she was doing makeup lines.
And I mean, like, she didn't even want to go to college. She was the one who just was like, "Hey, you know, why am I even doing this?"
That's why
it's just such a silly story.
She had a lot of potential to kind of like overcome this because she had like a lot going for her individually.
And she still has a lot of people that follow her and were like,
she was making money,
right? She was like, I don't know, she had
makeup lines. I'm pretty sure she was about to do clothing lines or something.
So it's like, but if she's like being this disrespectful, then I think it's just going to cause even more people to lose. Because I feel like before it was easy to kind of just feel almost sympathetic for her individually, but now it's like people are going to lose respect for her and just become less sympathetic for her situation because she didn't even really want to go to college, so she's kind of screwing herself over. And also just makes our generation look bad. Like we're just like, I don't know,
whatever,
disrespectful. I don't care about like
Well, she is like. She's one of the, other than musicians and like actors or actresses, she's one of the few people of your generation who is semi-famous, you know? Yeah. I mean, the people that are in Gen Z right now there are very few who are not actors, actresses, or athletes, who are famous for something else. And she was famous before this, which you guys let me know about. I don't know. That whole story to me, it just shows you how much of a bubble the Hollywood elite lives in, how much of a bubble that whole world is, like that they actually think getting into USC, or where'd the other one go? I guess Brown, like, is going to make that big of a difference in your life. It's not. It's these people get so obsessed about like their kids getting into the right preschool so that they can get into the right private school, so they can get into the right.
It's especially ironic because it's like I feel like, I don't know, just from hearing stories from lots of different people, I feel like what it comes down to is more your network, who you know, and then your personal communication skills and the way you interact with people. And obviously, your education is a nice addition, it helps with that, but I feel like that also plays a huge portion. And these people and their families obviously have super strong networks and lots of connections.
Yeah,
so it's
already.
kind of ironic that they're the ones who think it's like the most important thing, when it's like realistically, like your kid could go to a local college, not like whatever, but you could set them up in some top business job somewhere because of the people you know. Yeah. So I don't know. It seems kind of silly.
That is a fantastic point. They already won the game of life. Their parents already won the networking world thing. They're on a national. Their mom was on a national sitcom for a very long time.
She already had a huge step up.
The other one, wasn't it William H. Macy? I mean, both of their parents are like
actors,
almost A-list actors and actresses, and
like even if that isn't the career you want to pursue, like Olivia Jade was doing exactly what she wanted to on the side of school, and that's why she said things like, I don't even want to like be at school, I'm only here to party, whatever, because she was already doing what she wanted to be doing because she had a step up because her mom is famous.
So she already had a platform to go off of.
Yeah. And her dad is like a designer, so if she wanted to go into that, she has that door, and like that's like up her alley, so she really had nothing to complain about.
This is something I try to, this is your uncle talking now on my soapbox. But this is what I try to like instill in you guys, especially about college right now. Like, don't do everything in order to get yourself some sheepskin. Do you know what a sheepskin is?
Yeah.
Do you know what a sheepskin is? It's your degree. Did you know that?
No.
It's called the sheepskin. Did you know that?
Just continue.
Go.
Okay. Just in order to, like, don't do all of this just to get that so that you can, like, get into some company or some business so that you can do everything that they want you to do and, like, march like a robot into society. Like, I mean, you can do that, and that's totally okay. You can live a happy life, but there are people who look at college as filling their brains with stuff, and sometimes there's just not enough in college to feed their brains enough, and they go out and quit college and start Facebook or Apple or Microsoft or Dell Computers or a YouTube channel that has 1 million subscribers to it, like this Olivia girl had. Like, especially in this day and age, already the world is people's oysters, and if you're not like that whole that was the case many years ago. All right, you couldn't get a job unless you had that high school diploma, but don't even think about trying to apply anywhere if you don't have a college degree. Not really. That's not as big. It's not as big a deal as you think it is. You guys should graduate and finish. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the end all be all that people that live in this world that the Lori Loughlin types think it is. It just isn't.
Yeah, I agree.
And this is coming from someone with 2 degrees. Very expensive. Well, that is going to do it for this edition of the X&Z podcast. Anything else you would like to add, Generation Z?
That's about it.
Aunt Joan and the kitties send their love.
And we send our love to them.